So today we're going to look at collections in components inside of a data model. So we're going to begin by launching the data model designer and going in to look at our model. I've got a new project here, so I don't have anything added yet. But I'm going to begin by creating a subtype of equipment. It's a generator, and that generator could have different measurements on it. Maybe it's got a measurement for voltage, for example. And we're going to create another subtype of equipment, a motor, for example. A motor could have its own properties like temperature. And we'll create one more type of equipment. And this will be a truck. Now that truck can also have its own properties. Maybe it has indicators for latitude and longitude. So here's the latitude property, and I can give that a default value, 26, and I'll pick a longitude property as well. That might be 80, 81, say. So longitude is the property name. The value of 81. There we go. 8126. All right. So we can use these properties for positioning that truck on a map if we want. So we can do different things with that. So I've got a truck, a motor, a generator here. I may also want to create a truck fleet. Now I could create that as a subtype of equipment if I want, but it's not really a piece of equipment. So maybe I'm going to just add that guy to the root and say that I have a truck fleet that as a type. So these types are all very simple. There's just a couple of properties on each of these. But we can start making these types more complex, and we can have some real structure and more organization within our model instead of keeping things just flat like they currently are. So I can go to a truck, for example, and say that a truck is made up of different components, and one of those components is a motor. And I can go to the motor and say a motor is made up of different components, and one of those components is a generator. So a motor could be made up of a generator. It could be made up of air conditioning. It could be made up of pistons, a carburetor. It can have all different types of components on it. And I can go to a truck fleet and say a truck fleet is built up of a collection of trucks. And maybe by default, a fleet has 5 trucks in it. So now I've got a look at a truck collection. I've got a truck that's defined as a more complex asset now with multiple levels to it. And I can come to assets now and create a new truck fleet. Maybe the fleet is my Tampa fleet. And if I drill down into this now, I've got a collection of trucks because I specified that a truck fleet has 5 trucks. I can delete these trucks. I can add another truck into this collection if I want. And if I drill down in here, I see that the truck has the motor. The motor has a generator. Generator has an image. So I've got a more organized structure now for my my assets. Truck has a motor. Motor has a generator. And we can build up much better definitions of the types of things that we're monitoring. Another big addition to this is these, I'm going to change a couple of properties here while I'm talking. These collections help to save you all kinds of time within the system as you start building the front end to your application. And we'll show that a little bit now. So I'm going to close or minimize the model designer. I'm going to run the model browser And this is what we use for walking through the assets and taking a look at different things that we have in the system. So I can take this truck fleet and I can go to the truck collection, and going to the property table, I can pull up the property table to all of my trucks all at once. And I can see that I've got my different values for latitude and longitude in here for those trucks. And I can do that by selecting the collection. I can even do the same thing with trends. I could bring up trends for all of those trucks as well. Let's close all of those guys. Just pull up the trends. So now I've got those trends all at once that I'm looking at. I can put those into different windows and scroll through them. So going into the Mimic Designer, we can take a look at some controls that work with collections explicitly. So we'll create a new type. We'll just call it test. And going to the toolbox under data management, there are different collections that we can take a look at that are in here. So one of them is a collection grid that can show me information on different collections. And for example, I can take this collection grid and go to setup, and it's asking me for where the list of objects is. So I can say I want to show the trucks, and maybe I want to show the latitude and the longitude for each one of my trucks. And if I save that, save it under shared mimics, and we'll run that real quick, and that should bring up a list of the trucks that I've got now, latitude and longitude, the truck name. So I've got a nice list here, and I can extend this control such that I can double click and navigate to a template, a Mimic template for a truck, and look at the details for that truck. I can even add an additional truck to this grid if I'd like to. Other controls that work with collections include the data grid array, and the property grid will also work with it. We can go to maps, and we can pull out the map control. And the setup on the map control also is looking for a collection. So we can select our truck collection as our collection. And for the latitude property, we can use the lat property on the trucks. The longitude, we can use long, and we can save that and run it. And this will now trucks and their location. And as those latitude and longitude properties change on our trucks, those trucks are going to start moving around on screen. Now some of our trucks had the same latitude and longitude, so that's why we've only got 3 pins here. There's a number of them in the same spot here. But these are our trucks. We could have those latitude and longitude fed through the data connector from some different types of hardware, and we can track where those trucks are. I can also click these guys, and part of the setup for the map control is a truck template that we could assign. And I could drill down and find out information on those individual trucks. So we'll leave it at that for now. You're going to want to absolutely use collections within your system. Other controls that are extremely interesting to look at would include live tile, where you can show a whole grid full of mimics, with each mimic being a mimic template, and the grid showing all of the items within a collection, and that includes some navigation on it. And I'll leave you with that, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.